All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for jumping on. We are super excited because things are about to go crazy in the digital assets world. Um, for those that might be joining us for the first time or watching this recording, my name is Jeremy Jenkins, and I am an ambassador for decentralization and blockchain and tokenization and all those fun things. And tonight we're going to learn a little bit more about what's coming in 2026, why we're so excited, and then we're going to talk a little bit about an opportunity for those that might be interested in getting ahead, right? Getting ahead of the momentum that's about to change the world and monetize that and change your economic outlook. So the first thing we want to talk a little bit about is how this is inevitable. All right, this is something that is happening with us or without us, just like what happened with the internet back in the 1990s. It was something that a lot of people called a fad. A lot of people said it was something that, only techies could use, and, but the rest of the world would still be reading their newspapers and subscribing to their magazines and watching their nightly news. And lo and behold, what happened in the next 10 to 20 years? Everything changed. Everything went mobile, everything went digital, everything went onto the internet. And now, especially after the pandemic, everybody does their shopping online. It is something that just took over, right? And those that didn't adopt, those that didn't change and accept the reality got left behind, right? And we've seen that with so many examples, from the Netflix example, putting Blockbuster out of business, and so many more things. It just happened. And so if we don't get it in front of it, right, if we don't kind of look at where the world's going and try and get there first, well, we're going to get left behind. And those that have the vision, those that see what's happening, and those that are interested in being part of that first group are the ones that end up having the most success with it, right? The other big example that we've all heard is, wouldn't it have been nice to invest in Amazon back in 1995 when they first launched? And $1,000 back then in stock, how much is that worth today? Or the person that ended up buying maybe a few thousand Bitcoin back in the day when it was worth pennies, and then sold that for billions of dollars today, right? Just 30, almost, well, not even that. With Bitcoin, it's only been 20 years. So it's crazy what's going on with all of this digital stuff, and it's just going to keep accelerating because what's happening now also is artificial intelligence. So when you combine tokenization, digitization, and you put that together with what is artificial intelligence and everything that's happening with that, you can see it's going to be a totally different world in the next year or two, right? We don't have to wait another 10 years or more. It's all happening at the speed of light. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And we're going to just look at this article that just came out and kind of what to expect, right? What we can expect for digital assets in 2026. So hopefully you're seeing that. So this actually, it did come out back in January. So, about a month old, but still, this is from WeForum, right? But it's the World Economic Forum is giving their perspective. Okay. Now, love them or hate them. Some people don't like the World Economic Forum, and that's fine. But the information that they share is real, right? As far as this goes, which is basically that we are shaping up this year in 2026 to be a defining moment for digital assets. Okay. So that means cryptocurrencies, right? Stable coins, what's called CBDCs. Okay, these are they're like the digital version of the dollar or the yen or the yuan, the euro. Okay, That's what all that is. And then tokenized assets, right? Which is all underpinned by something called blockchain technology. So it's a convergence, right? So the convergence of clear regulatory frameworks, meaning the governments now are adopting all of this. They're basically saying, yes, this is the future. So here are the rules. Here's what the law says about all of this. This is how banks are going to interact, and treasuries and stock markets and all those things. So it's a trend. Okay. It's a trend that shows how the landscape is moving and what global leaders should prepare for. So this is not just the United States. This is the whole world is adopting all of this for a lot of different reasons. Okay. But it really comes down to the fact that Singapore and the United Arab Emirates and some of these other, like Dubai and some other areas, they were dominant, right? They were the ones that were leading. And the United States said, no, we don't want to be second fiddle. We want to be part of this revolution. And so the Congress and of course the president, right? They all got together and said, yeah, we need to become the crypto capital of the world. So they passed what's called the Genius Act. Okay, the Genius Act passed last year in 2025, and with that, it defined what stablecoins are. It defined how crypto and the crypto space could work. Now we're still waiting on something called the Clarity Act. Okay, this is something that's being worked on as we speak. There's the banks and there's the crypto world, right? These are two competing entities in a way. The banks are basically saying, hey, we've always been in control of the money, and we're the ones that, we should be able to give incentives for banking with us, which they do in basically by giving you interest for like on your savings account and stuff like that. Well, the crypto guys are saying, hey, that's not fair. We should be able to do it too with our digital assets. So the exchanges like Coinbase and some of the others, they're all basically coming in and saying, hey, let us participate as well, because we hold a lot of people's money in our institutions. We hold people's Bitcoin, we hold people's Ethereum, we hold all these different coins, and it's money, it's digital money. So why shouldn't we be able to have some of the same benefits that the banks do, right? And so that's what they're debating about right now, trying to figure out what that looks like and what crypto exchanges can do, what banks are willing to see, give up basically, and work together so that banks can also hold crypto. Like, can you imagine if you were, log into your bank, whether Wells Fargo, Bank of America, maybe you're at a credit union, whatever, and in your actual banking app or on your website, you can see your dollar account, your savings account, and maybe like a Bitcoin account right there in your bank. That's what's coming. That's what they're figuring out. So once this Clarity Act gets passed, and there are a lot of people that are saying it's going to happen hopefully by Easter. That's the goal, right? Anyway, but in the next few months here, it's going to give businesses and banks and everybody else the confidence to go for it, because now they're going to know what the rules are. Now they're going to know how to play, right? You can't, if you were to play sports and you didn't know what the rules were yet, it'd be kind of hard. You could go and play, kind of just play around and practice, but to actually do it, you got to know what the rules are. So that's what's happening. Okay. And stable coins, they're starting to grow. A lot of businesses now accept stable coins like USDT or USDC. These are stable coins that are pegged to the dollar, so they don't fluctuate like Bitcoin does, right? Bitcoin, it's good and bad. It's good because over time it's gone up in value. It's bad because day to day it's going all over the place, right? And you don't know. Stable coins don't do that. Stable coins, they stay. If you have crypto in USDT or USDC or any of the others, it's pegged to the dollar. It stays. It's always a dollar, right? One USDT is the same as $1 for the most part. Okay. So that's good. And that's what banks and other institutions want, is something that's stable, right? And so lots of interesting things going on with that also, but you can see here $24 trillion linked to crypto trading. Okay, and on-off ramping, meaning people buying and selling from fiat dollars back into crypto and vice versa. It's just really, really fascinating to see how it's growing and the trillions of dollars. And the other thing that's happening is tokenization. So experimentation in tokenization has been going on for over a decade, right? There's increased momentum in this area. A lot of different financial institutions are starting to participate. Everything from, got Larry Fink over at BlackRock. You got Rob Goldstein. Also, they've shared their view that it's going to greatly expand the world of investable assets beyond just stocks and bonds and things like that, right? Like literally everything can be tokenized and put onto a blockchain now. And so that's huge. And then, of course, you've got TradFi converging with DeFi. And these are basically, it's all bringing trade and banking into the blockchain world. Okay. So you've got JP Morgan issuing deposit tokens. You got the JPM coin. You've got Citi, right? Citibank. And they're starting to do token services, right? It's really, really fascinating, everything that's going on. So as companies, businesses, banks, financial institutions, as they all start to adopt this, what's going to happen? It's going to kind of filter out some of the bad ones, right? We like to call them meme coins or crap coins, some of the ones that don't really have any utility to them. They don't have any intrinsic value to them, and they're going to go away, right? And the ones that actually have real value, that actually have real utility, they're going to rise to the top, right? And they're going to be the dominant ones, whether, not just the coins, the tokens, but the blockchain itself, right? The ecosystem and everything. And that's what we can expect in 2026 as all of this clarity starts to happen and people start to adopt it. So what's going to happen in 2026? Well, we're going to be able to see entire asset classes being tradable on chain, on a blockchain, right? Which will reshape everything. You're going to see corporations and institutions that might embed blockchain into their core operations. How amazing is that, right? Right into their balance sheet. Okay. You're going to see global frameworks solidify with all the rules being defined for cross-border, right? Sending money back and forth. That's important. And of course, then you've got, all the things that people worry about, being responsible, right? Making sure there's interoperability, that there's coordination across the globe, that you've got public and private cooperation. So what do we got to do? Well, we just need to keep our ear to the ground. We need to pay attention, right? We need to stay in front of it, and we need to educate ourselves and learn all about this, because if we don't, we're going to get left behind, and we're going to be those that still think that cryptocurrency is funny money or monopoly money, right? That kind of stuff. And we're not going to be able to take advantage of this huge push, this huge trend of like 93% of the world not knowing what crypto is, and they're going to start adopting it. Okay. We're part of those select few that actually know about this beforehand, and it's going to be huge. So, like it says here, as blockchain and digital assets continue to grow in 2026, these trends are shaping the foundation for a more efficient, inclusive, and transparent global economy. Okay. So that is the future. That's what's happening. It's really, really interesting to see kind of where the world is going, and we get to be there first. We get to take advantage of it, because the really coolest thing about blockchain and what we call Web 3.0 is that now we have ownership. Now we get to participate in it and be rewarded for that. Okay. So that brings us now to our topic for tonight, which is how do we take advantage of this, right? How do we participate in all of this? Because it does get confusing sometimes. It does get kind of crazy. And you hear all these things and all these terms and staking and mining and rewards and all this stuff. So how can we be part of that? How can we take advantage of it? Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this presentation that we've got prepared. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so Cirrus Networks. Cirrus Networks is a marketing arm for an up-and-coming blockchain project that is starting to really catch fire all across the world. Okay, so before we get in too far into it, I do have to say that we're not talking about investments tonight. We're not talking about financial products. We're not talking about getting rich quick, anything like that, right? What we're talking about tonight is basically just a home business opportunity that allows people in their spare time to participate on many different levels with blockchain and really start to educate themselves on how it works and how it can benefit them. Okay, so let's go ahead and understand the future, how the world is changing and how things are becoming decentralized. So for the last long time, many years, decades, we've all been living in a centralized world where the banks had control, the big businesses had control, the governments had control, right? There was these centralized entities, and that was by design because with the big power came great responsibility, and it allowed us to be able to say, hey, you know what? We can trust these entities, right? Something that big and powerful would never do us wrong, and so we trust them. We trust them to make sure that everything's going right. And, and if something is happening or there's a problem, we can go to them and they can fix it, that kind of thing. But trust is now becoming digital, which is really interesting because unfortunately, some of these centralized entities took advantage of what we were, of our data. They took advantage of our money and not necessarily abused it, but definitely monetized it, right? And so all these big banks and others, they profited from our money while offering very little in return, right? We get a little tiny piece where they go out and they can make, 10% sometimes on our money, which is crazy. So it's now going a different direction. A new, more fair, more transparent, and decentralized community is starting to emerge, which is awesome. So why is this important? Well, we've seen it in lots of different ways, from Uber taking over the taxi industry, right? It didn't put them out of business. They're still taxis, which is great, but it allowed people to participate in giving people a ride, right? Using their own vehicle on their own time, be able to just go and say, hey, I'm on the clock. I'm going to go give people rides. I'm off the clock. I'm done, and get paid, which is amazing. Okay. DoorDash, same thing, right? I can go deliver food to people on my time, whenever I want. I can clock in whenever and go do it. And I can be done whenever, right? I'm not tied to a certain time or anything. Turo, I can rent out my car on a platform without having to be part of a car rental agency or something. Okay. Fiverr allows people to use their talents, whether it's graphic design or music or whatever, to create things for people for really cheap. Airbnb, I can rent out a room or a spare, like a mother-in-law apartment or something that I've got that I, maybe was just there. And now I don't have to worry about becoming part of Marriott or Hilton. I can just go rent it out. But the problem is you don't own the company, right? You have the asset, you have the house or the mother-in-law apartment or the car or whatever, but you don't own the company. So you clock in or you rent it out and you make the money, but then that's it. Ownership, what that really means is getting money while you sleep. Okay, there's that famous phrase from Warren Buffett that says, if you want to really be free, you've got to figure out a way to make money while you sleep. And that's what we're talking about. So through blockchain, you can now have ownership and you can become what we call a digital landlord and benefit from the participation in the community. So let's take another look real quick at centralized versus decentralized. Today, again, centralized meaning there's banks, there's Google, there's the government, and they can censor things. They can shut things down. They can freeze your money, right? You have to trust them, which may or may not be something you're willing to trust. Okay. And there is the single point of failure. But when it's decentralized, there's thousands of independent computers all double checking everything. It's almost impossible to shut down. You can verify it all yourself, very transparent, and there is no single point of failure. That's the direction we're going. And that's where all these businesses and companies and even governments are going, which is great. Okay. And how does it actually work, right? So you say, okay, that sounds great. Sounds wonderful and stuff, but what happens, right? So we'll give you the simplest of examples. When it all started back in 2009 with Bitcoin, let's assume that Alice wants to send a Bitcoin to Bob. Well, so what happens is Alice starts the transaction, right? She says, I am going to send 1 Bitcoin to Bob. She goes into her wallet and boom, says, send 1 Bitcoin to Bob. Here's his address. And then thousands of computers, we call them nodes, they all go and check and they say, does Alice actually have a Bitcoin to send, right? In the past, that would have been the bank. The bank would have said, oh, let's check our ledger and see, right? If there is, and some banker would say, yep, there's money there. Okay, let's do it. But now it doesn't require a bank or a banker, right? Now it's thousands of computers that we can all participate in ourselves, if we're node owners, to be able to verify that transaction that says, yes, Alice has a Bitcoin and my node has a copy of that ledger that says that she does, right? And then what happens is it moves, okay? That transaction of moving the Bitcoin from Alice to Bob gets recorded into the new entry in that ledger. And so a new block is recorded. A block is just an entry in the ledger, in the digital ledger that we all have as node owners. And then those nodes validate, okay, it's done. So that Bitcoin now belongs to Bob, no longer belongs to Alice. And it added to the blockchain as a permanent record. And then the transaction is complete, right? And everybody can go in and see, oh, yeah, money moved from Alice to Bob. Okay, there it is. It's written there. Okay, and it's permanent and nobody can manipulate it. Alice can't go back in and say, oh, nope, I never did that, right? Because thousands of our computers would have recorded it and said, yeah, sorry, Alice, but you did. You sent that money. So that's how it works. It's really cool. And that can be done with all kinds of things, right? Harry Zhang, the CEO of DigiFT, he talks about how Amazon back in the 90s was just a bookstore, right? An online bookstore for years before they decided to sell everything. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with the same model. Okay, so it's not just going to be Bitcoin anymore, moving back and forth on the blockchain. It's going to be everything. All kinds of transactions are now going to be recorded, from health and wellness stuff and more, right? It's really, really cool. And even banking, right? I mean, we've got Bank of America saying that the talk phase is over. We've got the FDIC talking about the stable coins and approvals. We got the United States Fed talking about liquidity rules. We've got JP Morgan and others all talking about how everything's going on chain. Even the SEC is talking about putting stocks and bonds and treasuries on the blockchain. So super, super powerful concept where even the pipes of Wall Street are going to be on blockchain, which will change everything. Okay. So it's happening right now. This is not something in the future. This isn't something that, oh, okay, in the next year or two, right? No, it's happening today. Like we got BlackRock and Fidelity who are actually creating funds that are tokenized, right? You can invest with them. You've got entire countries like Switzerland and Singapore and United Arab Emirates that are tokenizing government bonds. You've got big businesses like Walmart and IBM who are putting their supply chain on blockchain, so you can know exactly where your food came from and where, they can do faster recalls if something gets contaminated or whatever. You've got companies like Ondo Finance and Centrifuge that are actually doing billions in real world assets like invoices and treasury bills. You even have countries that are tokenizing real estate. Real estate, okay? Here in the US, Germany, Australia. So this train has already left the station. It's happening whether we like it or not, okay? So you might be asking then that question, okay, I see that this is the future, but how does this actually benefit me? Or how can I be involved in something so technical, right? That's the big question. Well, let's talk a little bit about rewards and loyalty for a second. We all know and love getting free stuff, right? With loyalty programs. I mean, I've been using loyalty programs for many, many years. I love it. You know, go in and get your Subway sandwich, and you get your points, and then you get so many points, so you can get a free sandwich, that kind of stuff, right? Super fun. And whether it's stars at Starbucks, or you go to my McDonald's and getting rewards to get a free Big Mac or something, right? Or Delta Sky Miles. That's another fun one that people do to get a free flight, right? So all these companies, most companies nowadays have some kind of a program to keep us coming back for more, right? But guess what? What if you could now tokenize this concept, right? What if you can put loyalty on a blockchain? That's what we're talking about. The future of rewards and loyalty is now going to be through tokens and crypto. And we have a huge advantage, because if you're going to Starbucks and getting stars, you can only use those stars at Starbucks, right? If you're getting Sky Miles, well, guess what? You're only able to use those at Delta, and that's it. You can't go use them like, oh, I got Delta Sky Miles, I want to go use them on American Airlines. It doesn't work, right? They're not transferable or anything. And eventually they expire, right? If you don't use them, then they just go away. Well, what if the rewards that you earned could not only be used on everyday services like mobile and streaming and conferencing and cashback shopping and travel, but on top of all of that, what if they could actually be converted into dollars? You could just monetize them. You say, you know what? I got all these rewards. I just want to cash them out. I just want to turn them into dollars and spend them. Well, that's the direction we're going. And it's all thanks to the Node blockchain, okay? So Node blockchain, offered by Cirrus Networks, is a brand new layer 1 blockchain that offers amazing AI integrated products that we all use on a daily basis that also offer daily rewards. So it's all built on the decentralized blockchain that I was just talking about for all that data sovereignty and transparency. But you also now get the rewards for your participation in the community, okay? So there's 3 ways to be involved. You can have ownership, you can just be a participant, or you can actually be a promoter, right? We like to say, live your life and get rewarded. So what is ownership? Well, by hosting a node, you're now an owner, okay? You now play an important role in supporting and securing the blockchain network, but you also have a voice. You now get to vote on projects and future enhancements and stuff. It's really cool, okay? And because of that, you can get daily rewards for that. Now, some people might say, I don't want to be an owner. I'm not interested in that. But, I wouldn't mind participating in some of these products and services, right, in the ecosystem. So you can do that. You can earn or receive digital Node tokens for contributing to the ecosystem by using some of the products, by just being involved in the community and using this decentralization concept, okay? The third way to participate through promotion is you can actually help spread the word about this. And through the Cirrus affiliate program, you can actually start to earn now money, I call now money, as a thank you for sharing, right? So you earn commissions for sharing the great news that we have a decentralized blockchain. So that's pretty cool. And that pays out every single week. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But let's talk about ownership and really understanding what a node is. So a node is like owning a generator in the blockchain network, okay? So by hosting your node, you fuel that blockchain ecosystem. And it's pretty easy to do, just one-time purchase. You set it up, and now you're contributing to that global network. Your node is keeping a record of all those transactions, and it's rewarding you for having done that, right? For helping out. So you can think of it like this. These are some of the great examples we have is, would you rather have the milk, or would you rather have the cow that gives the milk, right? Because the cow, now you can milk that cow every single day and get more milk, right? Or would you rather buy the apples, or would you rather have the orchard that produces the apples? You can go pick the apples every time they're growing, right? Or would you rather buy the corn, or would you rather own the land where the corn is growing so that every year you can get more corn? Or would you rather buy the golden eggs, or would you rather have the goose that lays those golden eggs so that you can, okay, I use those golden eggs, but the goose is going to lay more eggs for you every single day, right? That's the concept. A node is that. A node pays rewards every single day. By owning that node, you're getting every single night at midnight, it's going to pay out those rewards, which is awesome. Okay, so how much do they cost? You can have what we call a full nodey node on the blockchain for $1,197, basically $1,200. Okay, so that's a one-time purchase, and then you have a monthly or annual hosting fee of just $1.97 a month, or $23 for the whole year. So you can see, very inexpensive to host. Okay, not, it's not like Bitcoin mining was in the past, where if you had a Bitcoin mining node, it would cost you hundreds of dollars a month in electricity, and now it's even thousands of dollars a month in electricity. It's crazy how much it costs to do Bitcoin mining. But with this, no, it's just a one-time purchase, and then basically $2 a month for your hosting fee. Not bad. But you might say, you know what? Can't quite afford that. $1,200 a little bit pricey for me. Well, there's other options. You could come in with just a half node for $597, or you could even get a quarter node for $297, so $300. Or if even that's a little bit too much for your budget, that's okay. You can actually just get a mini node, right? So the mini node's $100, but with that one, they kind of like you to be on a subscription. So it's kind of the same idea as if you were to buy 10 mini nodes over time, that would be the equivalent of owning a full noni node. Okay, so pretty easy to participate wherever you fit, whatever budget you're in. But basically the rewards that you get, a mini node is 1/10 of a full node. Okay. All right, so the Node blockchain is comprised of digital landlords who have all purchased these nodes that collectively, all of them working together, approve and manage all of the activities and transactions that are happening on the blockchain. That's how it works. So they've even trademarked this title, this word, digital landlord, right? Something that nobody's ever used before. So, and it was really, sounds really good. So they went ahead and trademarked that. So as a node owner, you become a digital landlord, which is kind of fun, and the reason for that. So if you think of a landlord, right? What is a landlord? They own the building. Okay. So think of having a nodey node is like owning an apartment building in the clouds, right? So it's a cloud-based thing, okay? So you've heard that term. But here's the idea. As a digital landlord, it's like owning a 10-unit apartment building, okay? So let's say that you have this building and there's 10 units, right? 10 apartments where people can rent and live. Well, if you own the whole thing, then you get rent money from all 10 units, right? 100% of the total rent. But if you can only afford a half node, that's okay. That's like owning five of the 10 units. And owning a mini node is like owning one, right? And you can start there. You can just buy a mini node. It's like owning one apartment that you're renting out, and you can eventually buy more, right? As you want, whether that's monthly or whatever, until eventually you have 10 mini nodes. That's like owning an entire apartment building. Okay, so think of it like this. If you were to actually buy a real rental property, right, what would it cost you? An actual apartment somewhere that you're going to rent out. your upfront cost would probably be anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000, depending on where it's at, right? And your monthly cost would probably be anywhere from $500 to $2,000, right? With financing and upkeep and all that stuff. How much time? Well, a rental property, you're going to probably spend anywhere from 5 to 20 hours a month just to, maintain collecting rent and doing maintenance and all the different things you got to do with your rental property. And you got to have tenant management, right? You got to make sure that they're not, doing damage to the apartment and, and listening to their complaints and whatever. And the maintenance is ongoing. And of course, the market risk, well, it's all local and it's physical, right? So if the tenants are bad tenants and they do damage, then, you can evict them, but then you got to pay for the damage, all that stuff. It's just high overhead. It's constant management, local risk, all those things. A nodey node, on the other hand, is upfront cost anywhere from $100 to $1,300, right? Your monthly cost, $1.97. Time required, zero, zip. You don't have to worry about it. No time required at all. Tenant management, nope. Don't have to worry about it. Maintenance, none, zero. Market risk, well, it's global and it's digital. You can literally do this from anywhere in the world, and anybody in the world, any person in the world that you recommend this to can participate. So it's minimal overhead, no management, and it's global. Wow. That's a huge advantage. Okay. All right. Let's talk about participation. So maybe you want to be an owner, you don't want to be an owner, either way, you probably want to participate. And so what makes Cirrus even more amazing and different from other blockchain projects is the fact that you can also create value in the network and earn rewards through what we call X1 micronodes. What's an X1 micronode? Well, it's what we call SaaS services, or software as a service, right? There are things that we all know and love through monthly subscriptions that, again, we all do, right? Whether it's paying for cloud storage, whether it's paying for streaming movies, whether it's paying for travel, whether it's going shopping, whether it's using our cell phone, whether it's doing a meeting like we're doing right now, okay? All these things are services that we do every day or, quite often. But the difference is now we can turn these into micronodes that pay us daily rewards as well. Okay, that sounds pretty fun, right? So what is an X1 micronodes? Well, think of it like a mixed use apartment, right? So instead of just getting rent from the tenants, right, you actually might have some storefront stuff on the bottom. So the bottom level might be a restaurant. It might be an insurance agency. It might be who knows what, right? And that is another way to have commerce happening, creating value for that apartment building. So you're not only getting rewarded for owning the apartment, but you also get a share of that commerce that's happening on that first level. So it's utility driven. Bottom line, it's all about utility, okay? It's one thing to just say, oh, okay, great, I'm participating, I'm an owner. But if there's no commerce happening, if there's no transactions happening, if there's nothing that people actually use, then what good does it do? It doesn't do anything. That's why a lot of blockchain projects out there don't have a lot of value in their token, because there's no utilities. There's nothing going on, right? There's no people actually using it for any reason. So here at Cirrus, what we're trying to do is have a purpose-driven blockchain based on consumption, based on utilization of actual products and services. So these subscriptions become the backbone of the economic structure of the community, right? So we like to say we have the triple advantage, okay? So we have better products, we have better pricing, and we have better rewards. So what's an example of that? Well, let's talk about this product. This product, the first product introduced on the Node blockchain is called Safe. And what it is a cloud storage that actually has some purpose to it. So if you're familiar with Dropbox, if you're familiar with Google Drive, if you're familiar with iCloud, okay, all of these services are a way for you to back up your pictures, back up your important documents, share large files with people across the internet, right? All kinds of things that we do. And the difference, though, is that all of those different companies and offerings I just mentioned, they are subject to big data, getting access to your information and potentially monetizing that, right? But not only that, they just plain are more expensive and they don't pay you daily rewards. Okay. So with Safe, you're going to make sure that you're not having any kind of surveillance. There's no central control. It's just secure, transparent storage designed for users, not corporations, where you can store and sync and share your files. You can participate in privacy first ecosystem, and you can make sure that you're supporting a decentralized infrastructure, right? So $9.99 a month, you're getting 6 terabytes of storage, which is 3 times as much as you'd get from Dropbox or Google Drive or anywhere else. And you're getting daily rewards, where Dropbox and iCloud and those guys, they're not paying you daily rewards at all. Another example, well, let's talk about those daily rewards, right? How much are you getting? You're getting 20 daily rewards, okay? 20 Noti tokens every single day, whether you use it or not, whether you log in or not, doesn't matter. You're always getting those 20 daily rewards every single day. And then if you refer new subscribers, right, if you get somebody else to join for $10 a month, guess what? You get an additional 200 rewards for that every month. Every time they pay that $9.95, you're getting an additional 200 rewards every time they renew. Pretty cool. Let's talk about Meetin. This meeting room we're in right now doing this presentation is powered by the Noti blockchain. It's called Meetin. And for just $19.95 a month, okay, $20 a month, you now get the following. So let's do a comparison. You're for the same price, right? If you were to be on Zoom, Zoom also has their basic package for right around $20 a month. Okay, it's like 18-ish, but plus tax. So for Zoom, for that same price, you're getting 100 attendees, but with Meetin, you're getting 300, so 3 times as many attendees. With Meetin, you're getting unlimited branded meetings and webinars where you can fit 1,000 people in there. Zoom, if you wanted to use Zoom to get branded meetings and webinars, they're going to charge you like $100, $150 a month for that or more, depending on how big of a room you get and stuff. Okay, so huge value there. 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. Zoom only gives you 10, okay, for the same price. And then, of course, with Meetin, you're getting multi-channel social streaming. You're getting 2 extra meeting rooms that you can, change the name on it for different projects or whatever. You got no meeting duration limits. You got language translations, right? On Zoom, language translations, another $50 a month. You got your built-in teleprompter. You got widgets. You've got breakout rooms. You got call to action buttons, and you got all kinds of amazing things that are included for your $19.95 a month. All added up at Zoom, it would cost you almost $500 a month to get the same value you get from Meetin. So it's that triple advantage. It's a better product, better price, and it pays you daily rewards, where Zoom is not paying you anything. So how many rewards are you getting? It's 40 rewards a day from having your Meetin subscription, okay? And if you refer somebody else to it, you get an additional 400 rewards. But not only that, they actually reward you for doing things. Hosting a meeting like we are right now with 2 or more participants, you're getting 10 extra rewards per meeting with a maximum of 30 rewards per day. You also get 200 rewards just for logging into the platform for the first time. You get 200 rewards just for watching the intro video. And the first time you create a widget, which means you could like upload a PowerPoint presentation, or you could create a call to action button, whatever, any kind of widget that you do, you're getting 200 rewards just for the activity. Okay. So it's daily rewards guaranteed no matter what, whether you log in and use it or not, and other rewards for actually using it, right? So pretty amazing concept. Okay, well, that takes us then to promotion, right? So you might be thinking, okay, these great, rewards, I'm getting all these rewards and it's fun. I'm an owner, I'm getting daily rewards from my node. I'm using the services, I'm getting rewards for that. But what is the value of the reward? And, is it going to fluctuate over time? Yeah, of course it will. And it'll take some time, right, to be able to monetize all those things. So what about right now? What about how do I make money today, right? How do I get paid next Friday? Well, that's done through our promotion with the affiliate program. And it's all about relationship marketing. That's what we like to call it. Okay. So a Noti member can choose to earn even more as a Cirrus Networks affiliate or associate. So when a customer, if you refer a customer to Cirrus and they purchase a node or they get one of the services, the affiliate or associate who invited them to the community not only earns rewards, but they're going to earn commissions in dollars. And why is that important? Well, because word of mouth marketing is powerful, and they know that, right? Cirrus and Noti, they know how people trust other people more than they trust advertising. Okay, and that's how it works. Just like if you were to see an ad on TV or hear a radio ad or see a social media post about a new restaurant, yeah, you might go, okay, that looks good. I might try it out. But if your friend calls you up and says, did you try out that new taco place down the street? It's so good. What does that do? It just about 100 times the possibility that you're going to go check out that new taco place because your friend told you about it, right? Because you know your friend, you like your friend, you trust your friend. And so now you're going to go do it. And Gen Z consumers, right? The younger generation, 25% of them are discovering new brands and services and products through word of mouth. That's how they do it. They don't watch TV. They don't listen to the radio, right? They do it through their friends telling them about it through social media. So it is the most trusted and most powerful way to recommend products. And Cirrus recognizes that, and they know that we're really good. We love gossip. We love to go share things. And so why not get rewarded, right? Why not make some money and earn some extra rewards by doing so? So this is the now money. As a Cirrus affiliate or associate, you now have the option to earn through either just a affiliate program, which is where you just have a bunch of people that you talk to and they get it, and you earn every time they do it. Or if you think of yourself more of like a team leader, maybe entrepreneur that wants to guide and train other people as a coach or something, well, then you might want to be an associate, because then you've got a multidimensional compensation model where you can now leverage the growth of a team. Okay. But it's super simple. You just join for free. Okay. You just say, yep, I want to do it. Okay, great. You talk to the person that invited you. You get a web link. You go to that web link. You sign up for free. And then if you just start to share, right, whether it's on social media or word of, just calling people up, sending texts, whatever, and they decide to buy a node or they decide to get one of the services, then you're going to earn 20% every single month, right? If it's a one-time node purchase, yeah, you just get that one time. But if they're on a subscription to Safe or to Meetin or one of the future products that come on, whether that's travel or shopping or whatever, then you're going to earn 20% on that every single month when they renew, right? So an example is if you sold a full node, you'd make $360 for that sale, okay, from just recommending a node to somebody. So a lot of money involved in that. And then you can now earn up to 5% on 6 levels of team building through the amazing compensation model. And that initial 20% pays out every Friday. So whatever happens during this week, the following Friday, they're paying that in dollars to your wallet. Okay. And you can transfer it right to your bank and away you go. The other stuff, the levels 2 through 6, if you do that, that pays out on a monthly basis, right? So every 6th of the month, they take all the stuff from the previous month and then they calculate it and then they pay you also right into your wallet. You can transfer to your bank. Okay. So, but not only that, you can actually have rewards for selling nodes too. If you sold a full node, you get 2,000 extra rewards. You sell a half node, 1,000, a quarter node is 500, and mini nodes are 200 rewards. So there you go. And we don't have a set value right now on the rewards, but you can just do the math assuming the rewards are worth a penny or 10 cents or 50 cents or $1, right? You can calculate and kind of just guesstimate, oh, okay, so if the rewards were worth $1 at some point, then, guess what? Selling somebody a mini node would be worth $200 at that point because you get those 200 rewards, right? So lots of value in sharing with other people. Okay, so bottom line of all of this is that it's about timing, because the whole world is becoming decentralized. It's happening with us or without us. Pretty much all the different businesses and big giant corporations and banks and everything, they're starting to use blockchain technology today, right? Not tomorrow, not 10 years from now. They're doing it right now. But 93% of the world has yet to adopt it, right? The average individuals, the everyday consumers, they're not doing it yet, right? Most people have just barely heard of Bitcoin, let alone have a wallet and have played with cryptocurrency. So our timing could not be better, because we can now be the ones that introduce what is coming to people before it actually gets here through the Cirrus opportunity. Why? Because people do go shopping. People do use cloud storage. People do travel. They do stream movies and things like that. So if we can kind of ease people in, right? Say, hey, you stream movies, you travel, you go shopping, you do meetings, right? Why not use this one that's got the triple advantage, that better priced and better product and pays you out daily rewards? And then they say, okay, great. And then they get their little wallet and they start seeing these daily rewards drop in every day, and they start to get excited and they want to learn more about it. You can be rewarded extra and earn money from that because you were the one that introduced it to them, right? And kind of got them into the modern world of what is Web3 and blockchain. So future is now. It's up to you how you want to participate. You want to be an owner? You want to just be a participant? You want to be a promoter? Great. Any of those are valid options. You can secure your place in this new blockchain revolution and join a community that's going to reshape technology and power. We can embrace sovereignty. We can embrace transparency, power participation. We can contribute to a decentralized future for everybody by saying no to the big tech companies and yes to our futures. We can be digital landlords with daily rewards for as little as $10 per month. So my friends, get back to whoever invited you to watch this. Ask your questions, get your answers, and join us. After all, it's free. It's happening. So you might as well start getting some daily rewards. All right. Thanks again for jumping on tonight. Hopefully that was helpful. And